good evening and welcome to our parent webinar. Thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Claire Silva. I'm an Associate Director of Admission here at GU, and I'll be one of the hosts for the webinar. We recognize that families are a huge part of the college process, and if your student enrolls at Gonzaga, you are officially part of the Gonzaga family. And we want you to know about how we support our families and our students. And so just again, appreciate you taking time to be here this evening and learn a bit more. You'll notice that you won't be able to turn on your cameras or audio, and that's just so we can record for those who can't attend. But we really want to engage with you throughout the process and answer questions. We do have a Q&A function, so please type your questions in the Q&A, and we'll have colleagues answer those and bring them to attention if the presenter's attention if we want to answer them out loud. And we'll have a short presentation, and then we have some amazing parents of current students who have joined us this evening to be part of a parent panel. Grateful for their time. And we'll periodically use the chat function to share essential links that could be helpful for the group and answer questions there. So before I go, I would love for my colleagues who are from Gonzaga to introduce themselves. I'll start with Megan and then Liz and Jim, and then I'll let you take it from there, Liz. Thanks so much.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our parent webinar. My name is Megan Baird. I'm an admissions counselor here at Gonzaga. I primarily work with students in Western Washington. But yes, so happy that you're here and that your students are thinking about being a part of our Zag family here. Liz, if you wanted to go.
Yeah. Hi there, my name is Liz Gorman. I'm the Director of New Student and Family Programs at Gonzaga, and I am so grateful to be joined by our real MVPs tonight, who are our parent panelists. So we'll do a quick introduction of my colleagues, Jim and Lonnie, if you want to introduce yourselves, and then I'll do just a really quick presentation, and then we'll bring them up to answer your questions.
Hi, folks. My name is Jim Fawcett. I apologize for being off camera. I'm having some issues, but I am here to answer any questions that you might have in the Q&A section. So please feel free to enter your questions in there, and I'll be happy to answer them. Lonnie?
Hi guys, I'm Lonnie. I'm the Marketing and Communication Student Coordinator for New Student Family Programs. I'm a sophomore at Gonzaga, and I just work with Jim and Liz in the office, so it's nice to be here with you all.
Lonnie is also in charge of our department Instagram. So if you don't already follow us, Lonnie, maybe you want to drop that in the chat so that they can follow if you are on Instagram and want to find us that way. She does some great posts there. All right, so I will go ahead and pull up this real quick. I have only a few slides. I know we have folks joining from all across different time zones. So thanks for being here tonight, whether your student has already confirmed or just been accepted and still kind of in that process. We're excited to hear a little bit more about you and get to know you and your questions tonight, as well as share a bit about us. So New Student and Family Programs, our goal is really to help students and their families, parents, and other supporters holistically be connected to the university and be able to navigate towards their own development and success while they're at GU. We really help students to transition into a state of interdependence being independence on their own, as well as interdependence on the university and with their families, and then helping families kind of transition to that guidance role as they move out of the house and into the college environment as students there. So a few of the ways that we do that, we like to highlight some of the ways that we help students are through our new student orientation, which happens in July, and that is a two-night session, two-day session where they're able to register for different dates that work for them and their schedule. They come, they connect with a whole bunch of campus resources. They're able to meet a bunch of new peers as well as orientation leaders who really help them get acclimated to the campus environment. For any folks who maybe came to GEL, it's like a GEL plus because you get a lot more opportunity to really engage as a student on your own terms. You're admitted, you're confirmed, you're ready to go. You learn more about your class schedule, about the resources that we offer, and get to connect with a whole bunch of folks there. We also have a Zag into Action Canvas course, which provides some kind of fundamental transition resources for students over the summer, so they're able to get some of that stuff up and running before they even get here in August. We have summer newsletter and webinars that are available to both parents and students as well. Those look differently for those different populations, where they're able to continue learning and engaging with our campus partners, different resources on campus before they get here digitally. And then we also have Welcome Weekend, which is move-in weekend, as it's often termed, in August, where folks come and really get to reconnect after their summer orientation with the campus, whole class engagement opportunities where they're able to kind of fulfill that transition and really embark on their Gonzaga journey before classes start. On the parent and family side, we have a parent and family orientation as well. That happens in August during Welcome Weekend, as opposed to in July with the students. So students will come on their own in July. And then parent and family orientation is a really designed program for folks who are going to be supporting their students, who have been integral in their success and development so far, learning how to make that transition, how to help them navigate some of those areas of campus that they might feel less familiar with, being able to learn more about things like campus safety and mental health resources and all kinds of different opportunities for them to engage in the Gonzaga community as well as the Spokane community in involvement ways. So parent family orientation registration goes live in May. So if you have questions about that, feel free to reach out to us. You can find some of those information pieces on our website as well. And I think Jim is going to maybe drop some of those in the chat. So if you have questions around those, you can find a lot of that information online or through emailing and contacting us. We also have a Fall Family Weekend, which happens in October each year. It's a really fun opportunity for parents and families of all different years. So freshman through senior year, families will come and engage in that. We have our Craziness in the Kennel opportunity for folks to get to know the basketball team. We have food trucks. We have some academic sessions and different opportunities to really highlight the different vibrant campus life that we have going on campus for families to reconnect. And everyone is invited to that and comes to that from, 4-year-old siblings to 89-year-old grandparents. It's a really exciting weekend, and you can find more about that online as well. And then lastly, we have publications like our Parent and Family Essentials Guide, which Jim can drop a link to the chat in here as well for. We have a printed copy as well as the digital copy of that. So feel free to check that out. Really gives you some great resources that we try to provide to our folks, as well as our newsletters and webinars for parents. As you all are preparing, we have newsletters that go out regularly all throughout the students' years at Gonzaga. So you're able to subscribe to those even now, whether your student has been admitted or is already confirmed and ready to go at GU. You should have the ability to sign up for those. Feel free to let us know if you have questions about that. And then webinars like these we hold throughout the summer around different topics to really help folks get to know different aspects of our campus life and resources that can help them both transition with their student, but also help prepare their student for success in college. So those are a few of the things that we do that we wanted to highlight as we kind of kick off our time together. I am now going to go ahead and turn it over to our parent panelists. So we have some really fabulous folks who have agreed to join. I know that Mary, Stephanie, and Maureen are all excited. Mark, unfortunately, was not able to be here tonight, and James, not sure yet. We'll see if he pops up. But these parents are really excited to get to engage with you all and get to share some of what their students have experienced at Gonzaga. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen here and invite them to turn their cameras on. And maybe we'll go ahead and start with Mary and then Maureen and then Stephanie. And if you would like to just share a bit about your student, your hometown, your student's name and major and how they came to choose Gonzaga. Maybe we'll start with that, and then I'll go ahead and jump into our first question, if that sounds good.
Hello. Hi, I'm Mary Pellin. I am the parent of a first-year student, Nicole Pellin. We are from Spokane, so just right up the road from campus. She is a human physiology major in the School of Health Sciences. And I am also a staff member at GU in the Office of Student Affairs. But I am here wearing the hat of the parent. And but I do have a little bit more insight into what Gonzaga offers. And honestly, I have learned quite a bit as a parent going through some of these events that Liz has been talking about. That was super helpful for not only as a parent, but as a staff as well. Happy to be here.
Thanks, Mary. Maureen, do you want to go next?
Sure. So I am Maureen Adams, and I have a daughter, Kendall, who is a senior at Gonzaga. She is a broadcast and electronic media studies major. She also has a minor in English and a minor in leadership studies. And so she is down to the last 3 weeks of school, I think, and she's so sad because this has been one of the most incredible experiences for her. And when she was looking for a school, I hate to bring this up, but she got caught in that kind of COVID year where senior in high school didn't go as planned, and a lot of those milestones got squashed. We didn't get to visit a lot of universities, but she wanted to find a smaller school that had smaller classes where she could get to know her professors and really get involved, because that was kind of missing at the end of high school. So, so she jumped right in, and very happy student. So, yeah.
Thanks. And Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Featherstone. My daughter Kendall, which is crazy, Maureen, that I also have a Kendall. And we are from Austin, Texas, a suburb of Austin. And Kendall is a junior, finishing her junior year. Of course, for us, it was a huge leap coming from Texas to Spokane, Washington, and she has not regretted not one day. So I am definitely excited to provide any guidance or assistance in that very huge change of letting that bird leave the nest and fly, 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 fly away. She has thoroughly enjoyed every moment of Gonzaga, and she is currently was just elected the Kennel Club, which it was mentioned about the craziness in the kennel, but she's just elected president for next year for the Kennel Club. So really excited about that and that opportunity. My Kendall is a business major with a focus in marketing and entrepreneurship.
Awesome. Congrats to Kendall for that
Thanks.
opportunity. That's amazing. That's awesome. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start off, and feel free to kind of just, for our panelists, unmute as you see fit and as you want to jump in and answer. And we'll continue to receive more questions too. So feel free to, for our folks who are joining us, feel free to drop those into the chat or into the Q&A. But our first question is, how does Gonzaga help students feel a sense of belonging and create tight-knit community for its students? How has your student developed friendships and participated in the campus social life?
I guess I'll jump in on this one. So for my daughter, she went into college with the attitude is, I'm just going to say yes. I'm just going to say yes to as many things as possible. And we finally got to a point, I don't know, maybe junior year, when I said, honey, you just got to say no at some point, because she got involved in pretty much everything. So one of the first things she got involved in right from the start is they do it's not a career fair, what's it called? A club fair on right there. And so she signed up for rugby, and I'm like, rugby? And so she started out on the club rugby team. And then she just said they made it really easy for her to do. The RAs are posting things in the dorms, ways to get involved. There's the whiteboards. I think they're in, I don't know where the whiteboards are located on campus, where they list all the activities and the things coming up. And intramurals was another big way she got involved right away. So she had a roommate, and then they found some girls on the floor, and they started doing, I think, basketball. I'm not sure exactly the sports, but she has continued that throughout her entire 4 years at Gonzaga. So she's done pickleball and basketball and maybe was there swimming? I don't know, inner tube something. But there was a lot of different activities that she participated. So she just went in head first, and it made it really, really easy. And I would say just definitely encourage your students to sign up, try something new. Um, yeah, and they made it really easy for that to happen. So maybe another parent wants to add on to that.
Yeah, I think Nicole also, she was involved in intramurals. And this is offered, I believe, only to freshmen also. But as soon as they come in, they can sign up for, I think they're called freshman games. Is that what it is, Liz? Where they make their group of friends or roommates or suite mates, and they have teams and there are different sports, and they just had a blast with that. And I think that lasts a month or two, Liz, is that right? Um, but it's a significant amount of time where they can bond and get to know each other. It's not just like a week or two, I think. And they, like, again, I said they had different sports, and I know she made some good connections through that. But you might want to encourage your students to keep an eye out for it, because I believe it does fill up. I know there were some folks who were a little sad that they didn't were not able to jump right in, but I think it does fill up, so they need to kind of be aware of that. And honestly, orientation, and we also, I think, to a little lesser extent, gel weekend. I know Nicole made some connections, and she has just a great group of friends, and that they do a lot of things together. I've been really proud that they've really supported one another. And of course, being first year, even though we're from Spokane, living on campus, lots of sniffles and bugs that went through this winter, and I they just really supported one another, and I was really, proud to see that. And clubs, yes, ton of clubs. So something for everyone. So I think, Maureen, like you mentioned, the club fair is another area that they can get connected. And the kennel club, of course, is super fun. And whether you enjoy basketball or not, honestly, it's just a huge spirit-filled, fun atmosphere that anybody can get involved with.
And I take that, Mary. I mean, I think Kennel supports all the sports. So even if it's not basketball, I mean, all of the sports, that Kennel spirit or energy is there to support those areas, which I will say was huge for my Kendall, because she jumped in with both feet into the freshman representative option, and so that's a whole application process in order to be part of the kennel board. So when we left her with the tears and all the things, the first thing that she shared with us was that she was applying to be the kennel board freshman rep. And so that's an entire application process. And it is highly recommended if your student has any interest in just that team spirit, that energy, just kind of being around those that really support the spirit of the university, or even had that experience even in a high school perspective. That's a great way to continue that feeling and start building those relationships. I was also going to mention Kendall participated in Bridge before coming officially to Gonzaga. And so that was this week, or maybe the week and a half. I can't remember, because we were trying to figure it all out since we're flying so far, um, how she did that. But that was amazing of her being able to experience that, and build some relationships from that perspective. And then I can't remember, there was another week of events that happened somewhere around that same time, and so it really allowed for these small pockets of relationships to start building before the entire experience presented itself. And then you may have felt a sense of being overwhelmed. So um, I am a big proponent of what Maureen said. It's just saying yes. Even if you have not tried it before, don't second guess it. just say yes, because the more yeses you get, I think the more opportunities you're going to have to not only find out what you love, but also find out things that you don't like so much. But not doing it, you'll never know. And so I think that's not only has everything been mentioned as far as opportunities, I think it's that the overarching message for me is just say yes, just jump in. It's a new chapter, go for it.
I'll just add real quickly. My daughter did do right before freshman year, before the start of school, she did that week long or a couple day. She did the Embark, which was a retreat program. The first year, it was like a spiritual retreat, which she enjoys doing. The second year, she did the Gonzaga Out of Bounds, which is a hiking, rafting, biking trip. And she was a leader on that trip and she had an amazing time. So be on the lookout for those
Yes.
events and sign up quickly for those because I'm pretty sure they fill up fast, but they're great experiences. And she absolutely loved both of those.
Yeah, thanks, Maureen. I was just about to prompt you because that was one of our questions was, did any students attend Goob or participate in that, and what was that experience like? So all of those are part of our extended orientation programs. I know Jim is responding to the Bridge one, but he can also post the website to those in the chat. The registration for those, those are all optional. Some orientation is highly encouraged / required, and the extended orientations are awesome opportunities to add on to those. And those all happen the week before students move in August. So I'll make sure that that gets posted in the chat as well. And registration for those goes live in May towards the end of the month. So he'll post that information as well. Okay, our next question is, what was your students' experience like declaring a major? How have they found that major to be? Have they changed their major? Anything in that realm that you want to speak to?
Kendall was very much like her mom in that she knew leaving high school specifically what she wanted to major in, and she has not kind of veered from that at all. So it wasn't a yeah, we didn't have any conversations around switching majors. Now her very dear friend and former roommate definitely felt that, was kind of going in from the science medical side. And as she finished her freshman year, it turned more towards the business realm. So yeah, she didn't really have an experience. My daughter didn't have an experience in terms of looking at how to switch or looking at a different opportunity.
I will say my daughter, so my Kendall, you're declaring a major 9 months before you're even starting school, and a lot changes, right? So she applied as a broadcast major. And then by the time she got freshman year, she said, I think I'm going to do an English major with the hope of doing secondary education. So she had started along that path, never changed the major. And then she got through the first year and she said, you know what? I'm going to pivot again. I'm going to go back to the broadcast department, and she's very happy that she made that change. So it was really easier because I think freshman year all the students take basically their general education classes, and so at least from our experience she was able to, it didn't set her back or anything, and she was able to, it didn't stop her, or she's going to graduate on time and all that. So, and again, she's got minors as well too, so she can fit it all in. And most kids don't know what they want to study. So if your kid knows, you're lucky. I'm, my age, and I'm still not sure what I want to do in my life. So
Or they may come in thinking they know what they want to do and then find out a year or two later that they may want to switch and pivot, as you said. Nicole came in knowing she wanted to do something and explore the medical dental field, the health sciences. Not quite sure specifically. So she came in as a biology major, but then we learned more about the School of Health Sciences and Human Physiology. So she did switch, but it was, again, she's first year, so it was quite easy. And it was so easy that she couldn't remember when she did it. But this is something that I didn't know until Nicole started school. That I think is really helpful is that first year, first semester students everything goes through their academic advisor. If they want to switch classes, even this was a key, and we learned that during, I think, orientation in one of our sessions we went to, that even if they want to switch a class, add drop, they need to go get the signature of their academic advisor. So you don't want to waste time starting elsewhere. I think that was a great place to start, and great tip that we learned before she started, or as she was starting classes. Um, I think also for those students who may be considering both of those fields, but if they're interested in pre-med or pre-dental, what my understanding was or is that it's slightly easier to go from biology or I'm sorry, excuse me, the other way, to switch out of human physiology into biology versus going in, especially after your first year. I believe the human physiology course trajectory is a little, I don't want to say rigid, but it's a little more structured. So I think the earlier you start in that program, you'll be, on target to graduate on time a little bit more than if you were to come in later. So I think, and we also, a great place to get more information is also from Career and Professional Development Office. They are great about talking to the students about the professions, obviously, but not only that, but the courses and the majors that feed into those fields. So that was very helpful also.
And I just want to add, I believe they need to meet with their advisors every semester all the way through so that they're always on track and they always know, exactly where they stand with their credits and things like that. So I loved that there was always someone kind of advising them on what to do. Yeah.
And I think just staying open to the opportunities and it is an investment, but it's an investment to an outcome. And so just continuing to be open to pursuing, not necessarily knowing that this is where you want to end, because your destination could completely change. I would just, like I mentioned, I personally, back in the days of the chisel and the stone, but I knew that I wanted to be an educator. Like I knew from high school, and so I went to college with the intent to be a teacher, and I did that for 5 years, and then I was recruited out of the classroom and moved into corporate America. And I was kind of like, it was not on my radar. Like it was not even something I was even remotely looking to do, and then moved into owning my own business. So I think it's just important that they have the freedom and the recognition and the liberty to know that now is the time for you to just take in as much information as you can. And unless it's like a specific science that you got to have the underlining piece to move in that direction, um, I think it's just important to just continue to encourage that it's totally okay. You switch directions, it's fine. The goal is a destination. Oh, we don't want to just keep playing multiple choice, but
Totally. Yeah, thank you all for sharing those pieces. Students do have the opportunity to meet with academic advisors as well as to meet with faculty from different majors during the summer orientation sessions in July. So that's a really great opportunity for them to kind of solidify and get to know more about those academic pieces. And then they also have meetings with their academic advisors as a large group with their major in August before their classes start as well. And like you said, Maureen, they meet pretty regularly, definitely during that first semester if they want to change anything, but also each semester to make sure they're on track and invested in what they want to do. So we have some fantastic folks in our AAA office as well as faculty advisors. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move us to our next question, which is what has your experience been with navigating financial aid at Gonzaga? And if you have students that have found jobs on campus, what has that been like for them? How have they found those and maybe used their work study awards if needed, if that's applicable to anyone?
Well, I'm not sure specifically about financial aid, but I can speak to the job because I know my daughter did have a job on campus. So one of the first things she did, she became an ambassador, which is, as many of you know, or I guess it's sometimes called like a tour guide or whatnot at other schools. So she's an ambassador. At the time, it wasn't a paid position. I believe it now is a paid position. So that's one way that she got involved. She was interested in, doing that and being part of the school. So that was a job she got. I know there's a Zag Ignite, I believe it's called. It's an online resource where they can get connected to different employers. And a lot of her roommates, and these are maybe not work study jobs, but they're most of her friends do have some kind of part-time job because they want to, I believe. A lot of them in different departments. I know one of her guy friends works at the RFC, and he's a ref, like a basketball ref or something like that. So there's definitely a way to get connected with jobs and things like that on and off campus. Kendall does babysitting and things like that as well, just because she likes money to do fun things. So, and I know that Gonzaga does, I think a large number of your students receive financial aid or some type of scholarship. So we were very grateful for that. Yeah.
We do have a wonderful student financial aid services. They're fantastic in guiding the students. One thing I also learned is that you can also apply and find a job on campus without necessarily having to meet a financial need. So there are different types of jobs that are available on campus. And I believe we do use Handshake. Isn't that what we use, Liz? I think Handshake, so students can go online and look at all the jobs, and it's they usually hire, I believe, like right before. Initially, I think right before the school beginning of the year, but also there are offices that hire throughout the year. So that's I think it's a great place for students to go look and see what what they might be interested in. And the other thing too about jobs on campus, they really accommodate the students and their schedules, obviously that change every semester. During final. So I think if your student is looking for a position, really on campus jobs are, I think, fantastic. And they also have the interaction with different staff and faculty and make some connections that way. And so I think that is a great opportunity if your student is looking for a job.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for sharing those things. And I know we have some other questions. As you all answer, you're providing such great answers. You're creating more questions. So I'm going to ask Claire and Jim to continue kind of answering those as we go around specifics of Zag's Ignite and getting a job before campus and that type of thing by typing those into folks. So keep an eye out for those as you have questions. But yes, you can access those things once students have their Zag mail. Okay, let's move on to experiences with housing on campus. How have your students' experiences with their roommates been, especially thinking about that first year assigned roommate that they got, as well as any other roommates they've had as they've kind of progressed? And for parents of upperclassmen students, how did students go about finding housing off campus? Do they still feel connected to campus? Those are all kind of our housing related questions there.
I'm not sure how it happened in the summer, but Kendall's freshman roommate, they built a relationship pre-coming to school. So it wasn't when they moved in, they had already kind of established that. So that may be beneficial. I'm not really sure how that all kind of panned out, but they very connected and kind of spoke all through the summer. And then once they got to campus, and her roommate was from Minnesota, so they both are from completely on the other side of the states there. But yeah, and they are still very, very, very dear friends. They're not rooming together now, which you will kind of watch that kind of evolve and change as they move into their own friend groups, but still very, very connected. And then I'll just take the other part too from my experience on upperclassmen. Kendall is off campus this semester. I think that was probably you think you finally got a moment where you're like, okay, I got it. It's all good, all good. And then she's, Mom, I would love to move off campus with 8 other girls. I'm like, what in the world? So Oh, that was like a completely different experience to then learn that that is how they do it. Like the homes are all designed from 6 to 8. They each have their own room. They do a Jack and Jill bathroom, but it pretty much was, a kind of a sorority campus, off campus dorm experience. And she's loved it and will continue for her senior year being off campus. And I think just by them having those connections with their friend groups, they start to really just organically starts to present itself. Like I don't think she actually had to go out and look for an off-campus space. It almost like found her to do that.
Yeah, and I will say, so my daughter, she used as a freshman the housing portal where there's that's what you were talking about, I believe, where they can match. They put in their I'm a late sleeper or I'm messy or not, and she was matched with a roommate, and it worked out really well. And they got to know each other over the summer, and then they're still roommates. So they were roommates freshman year. They found 2 other girls that they met on the floor that year. The second year, they lived in the on-campus apartments. And so the 4 of them lived together, sort of like apartment style. And then on a junior year, they found an off-campus house. Same thing. These houses are big. There's 7 bedrooms. They each have their own room. They had 4 of them, but they were able to find other roommates through everyone had some connections and put out, text and say, do you know anybody? So it was really easy. And they still feel very connected to campus. There's a Logan section, which is I think it's just north of the campus, where a lot of the upperclassmen live. And that's just a new experience. Like you have your 2 years on campus, and then it's also fun to live off campus for a bit and experience that and be a little more on your own and cook and do those kind of things. So, but yeah, she's been with the same people since freshman year. She got lucky.
Nicole also loves her roommate. They met, I kind of call it roommate dating. And I think they had some trouble with the portal, the housing portal through GU. So I was just asking her today, it was some other website that I think is open to anybody. But there must be something that they searched to find each other about Gonzaga. Zimi something started with a Z. So they met there, started talking, and what drew them together was that they're both gluten free. So there was something of interest, that similarity that drew them, and then they started talking. And actually, Nicole had kind of met someone else online and thought she was going to room with her, but that kind of fell through the cracks over the summer. And then the current roommate, they decided to commit, and then they had different summer orientation sessions. But since we do live in Spokane, Nicole came down and met her because she is from Seattle area. So they had met for coffee, chatted, and then they're just they love each other, they support each other, and then they have met the other gals on the floor, across the hall, down the hall, next door. Um, just yeah, she has a solid group of friends, and like I said, just really happy to see that they all just are so kind and just support each other. That you don't always see right off the bat. And they've already decided to room together next year and have an apartment, and have 2 apartments actually on campus that they were able to coordinate with 4 girls in each apartment. So that is the path that we are on for the moment. And I may need some tips later on how to find housing off campus.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll go through a couple more questions. Make sure to be over by 7 here. We have some info on Zemi in there too, so if folks want to check that out, they're welcome to look at that in the chat. How has your student navigated health management away from home? So things like filling prescriptions or counseling appointments or medical appointments. Have they utilized the health services on campus or things in the broader Spokane community, especially for those who traveled from far to be here? But Mary, you can chime in too if you want.
So we're from California. So Kendall, fortunately, she hasn't needed a lot of doctors and things, but she did get a sinus infection at one point, and she went to on campus. They have nurses and physicians there that can be seen. So she did that once. Just recently, when she was home over the holidays, she had something on her leg, and we said, "Oh, we should get that looked at by a dermatologist." And we couldn't get an appointment here quick enough, so we just used our insurance, like we have a PPO, and she was able to see a doctor at a practice up there, which worked out well for us. And then I know like she and roommates, there's a Safeway, which is a local grocery store pharmacy in Spokane. And that's where all of her friends and roommates get prescriptions filled. It's right at the edge of campus. So it's all been really easy. There's been, for at least in our experience, there's been no, it's worked out well. There hasn't been any issues with that. So.
I think Kendall's only had to use the health services maybe one time. So, and it was a blessing. I was just very concerned with, potentially the vid and, she wasn't feeling great and then her roommate wasn't feeling great. And so, it's amazing how they really try to take care of one another. And so that's really helpful knowing that they have created kind of their own family and supporting one another, and especially when they're not feeling well. But yeah, it was great. They took care of that for her, and thankfully she didn't have the vid. So I was like, okay, that's great. But it's tough when they are not feeling well and you're not able to be there, and they're used to you kind of taking care of them when they're not feeling well. So yeah, it's nice to be able to know that once they build that community of friends, that they can count on one another to kind of help them in that space.
Awesome. Have you participated in parent and family orientation or fall family weekend, or been up to campus at other points? And what was your experience like with those?
I have not missed a family fall weekend. Like, I am there. Actually, that profile picture was from Family Fall Weekend that showed my daughter and I. My husband came with us the first time and he's like, "Yeah, you got this. Like, this is, yeah." It's like, so I don't know if he's gonna make his way this for her final one, but we did the family orientation her freshman year. I think that's right. And really appreciated the adult parenting opportunity to see the deans and go to the colleges and attend a few of those sessions. Like, that was beyond amazing. So that was amazing. Really, really helped settle me in terms of being able to connect some dots and un- reinforcing for her the importance of networking and meeting and getting to know names. And then yeah, fall fest is literally fall family weekend, I guess. It's very much a fest. I mean, it's just amazing seeing all the families come back and all that the kids are involved in. So highly recommend.
So even though we live in Spokane and I work at GU, we sent our daughter off to school and she lived on campus or lives on campus, and so we did the whole thing. We except we went home and slept in our own beds, but so we yes, Liz and Jim do an amazing job with the rest of their staff. I learned more going through orientation, the parent sessions. I had so many questions. It's like, oh, I work here. I should know these things. But I learned so much, especially on the academic side, that I'm not exposed to as much. Learned so much, like you said, Stephanie. Had the opportunity to meet and talk to the deans, and actually, I think it was at the one of the orientation sessions that now I'm kind of mixing the two. It could have been the parent, the fall family weekend, but we spoke to the dean in length regarding, should Nicole stay as a biology major or human physiology. So, and they're just fantastic and so approachable and just really want to help. Like I said, we just got a lot of information that was great in later guiding Nicole. So there's so much information I know that the students get coming in as a first year, especially. It's definitely overwhelming. And I think as parents, if we're able to get there and learn a little bit more about the resources, how, maybe the academic calendar, what that looks like, then we can kind of, as we talk to our students first semester, first year especially, kind of check in, did you do this? Or do you know what courses you're signing up for? Are you ready for that? Just a couple things, and then there will be a time, usually like a month in. If not then definitely by midterms, they'll be overwhelmed, have their little meltdown. We certainly had that. And again, even though I'm there, we didn't see her much, but I was able to suggest that she maybe look into the resources that are offered there. Maybe check in with our Center for Cura Personalis, CCP, where there are case managers there who are not clinicians, but full of resource or wealth of information and guidance and resources. So if a student comes in a little overwhelmed, whether it's academic or issues with roommates or whatever it may be, they can sit there and just kind of walk them through what is available to them. And I think just pointing them in the right direction is super helpful, but it's also helpful if we know what resources are out there and what's available to them. And I think I found that extremely helpful.
And you've all pretty much said what I'm going to say, but we had to miss the first 2 parent weekends. And then the last 2 years, she's been working in them. So she became involved. And so my daughter was very involved and she said, please don't come this weekend. It's not a great weekend. I'm going to be working and busy all weekend. So, but we have made an effort to go up every year to Spokane to visit her, to meet her friends, to take them out to dinner. And for those who are not familiar, with Spokane, they actually have some great restaurants. It's, you can get a couple flights a day from the Bay Area, and I know a lot of other places. So we've gone to visit her. And yeah, we just always try to get up and see her and see her life and her friends. So
Kendall Adams actually planned our last fall family weekend. She did a fabulous job, and then told her parents not to come because she had to work it. So, but it was a great time for everyone else who was there. Mary and Stephanie can attest. Okay, we'll go ahead and just kind of ask our final question here, and conclude with for all those parents who are still out there kind of helping their kids decide if Gonzaga is the right place or not, or maybe they've decided but they want some reinforcement. What would you share with them around what Gonzaga has meant for you, for your student and for your family? Why would you encourage other families to choose Gonzaga for their student?
That's a very interesting question because I think Kendall most certainly chose Gonzaga, and she will say it, Gonzaga chose her because at the end of the day, she felt that she was going to be seen, heard, and able to make a difference. And from day one, that's what she said to us when she made the final decision that Gonzaga was where she was going to go. And she was accepted to all of the 6 schools that she applied to. 3 of them were in Washington. So we were already trying to prepare ourselves that she was definitely not going to be in Texas. She only applied to 1 school in Texas, by the way. And yeah, so I think for her, and we shared that with her earlier on, that she would know it when we got to campus, she would know it. And she said that when she stepped foot on Gonzaga's campus in preparation for the orientation, she said, this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be. And so I think it's important that the students have that experience. Like they need to feel it. They need to be able to make sure that the heart and the head align, that it's not just head based, because they're going to be away. And I share with students that we mentor in our community that up until you get ready to decide to go to college or trade school or whatever that next experience is going to be, you pretty much were given directions. Like you were given directions. You knew exactly what was going to happen next, and then what was going to happen next, and then what was going to happen next. And then you get ready to launch to that next chapter, and you've been handed a map. And you just think about today's generation and a map, like a straight up map. They're like, what? And so I think that that analogy has really proven to be one that my Kindle has been able to really navigate, and being able to see Gonzaga as an opportunity to navigate a map and be able to do that on her own with support, with true, genuine, authentic support. And I think that's what Gonzaga brings. So
And like I said, my daughter's graduating in a few weeks, and it gets me emotional because her experience at Gonzaga has been just more than she could have ever imagined and more than I could have imagined for her. But for the parents out there, I'll say the first semester wasn't that easy, not because she was questioning, GU. It was more, being away from home, new friends, the connect, just trying to make those connections. And it does not happen first semester freshman year. You get acquaintances and know people. But again, she kind of went all in, and it couldn't be a more inclusive, warm, welcoming place. And as a parent, I'm a little fearful how she going to replicate that, once she graduates. So but she did. She signed on to be she's doing a master's program, so she'll still have a connection to Gonzaga. It's an online program, but so anyways, it's really been an incredible experience for her and for us as parents. And when we walk the campus with her, I'm just shocked. Her like, "Hi, Kendall, hi." She knows everybody and professors, and it's just really an amazing experience. So couldn't say anything better about the school.
Well, our entrance was a little different because Nicole wanted to go away, wanted to, get out of town for a while. So we gave her the options. We visited a lot of schools out of town, out of state. But she didn't want to admit it until I think she knew way before she actually told us. She kind of kept it to herself for a while. But she knew Gonzaga was the right fit for her also. The size, the honestly, she everything if Gonzaga was away from her hometown, she would just have everything would have been wonderful. Like I said, she's living on campus, so she's doing really well. I think it's just I think like Stephanie was saying, you just kind of know, when you're there, you just get the vibe of the school, walking around, some of the students you meet and chat with. So she knew that was the right fit. And I think as a parent, knowing the size and the ratio of students to professors, that's really amazing. The accessibility of their professors and also just staff also I think has been great. She's been able to go get the help she needs, stay and talk to professors. There's all kinds of academic support. So it's just first years, there's always time of adaptation, ups and downs. But honestly, all in all, I don't think we could have asked for a better first year. Definitely some tears off and on, like I said, stress, little meltdowns. But it's the community is truly amazing. I have an older daughter who went to a very large school, and had quite a very, very different experience. So I have that to compare as well. And again, as a staff member, and honestly, I'm not trying to sell GU because you have to find the right place for you, but your student. But when I started working there, I was just amazed at the resources that we provide our students, and how much the staff and faculty care. That I honestly, I really was amazed. And I see that now carrying over to my student there. So, and I have a friend who now has a son who is a junior from Montana. And after she went through her orientation, she stopped by my office, and she said she felt confident and happy to leave her child there, to leave her baby there, is what she said. And that just really, and she had heard our boss speak, vice provost of student affairs, and she said, "I am just happy. I feel good about leaving him in your care and going home." So I think that just speaks really to what we provide. And I think as a parent, obviously sending our kids off, how far or close it may be, I think that just a great thing to know and feel good about.
Awesome. Thank you so much to Stephanie and Maureen and to Mary for sharing your experiences as parents. We're so grateful for you all being here with us tonight, and for all of our attendees as well. Thanks for being here and being curious and asking questions. Claire, any words as I kind of turn it back over to you?
Thank you so much again for taking the time. Thank you to our parents too. On behalf of the Office of Admission, we're grateful for your time. And those of you in the webinar, just know that we are here to support you. If you don't know who to ask, there's so many people at Gonzaga that are willing to help you, but you should know who your admission counselor is. You have gotten a lot of emails from our office, so if you don't know who to ask, just hit reply on those emails and it will get to you, and we will get you the information that you need to help your student make the decision, or if they've decided to come to Gonzaga, yay! We're so happy, and we're happy to help you with the next steps that you may have. So thanks for taking the time this evening. All right, well, have a good night, everyone. Take care. This is recorded, so we will share it out on the web. You have to head out. Have a good evening. Take care.
Thank you all.